Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Bleav.
BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, NHL, and UFC. Head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use the promo code BLEAV, B-L-E-A-V, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
This is the Bleav in the Warhawks podcast, part of the Bleav Network, with hosts Dusty Thibodeau.
I seem to be the only guy they can find to talk to.
And Chase Region.
Just offensive line, man. Still not getting credit for shit, and it's cool.
Another week of Bleav in the Warhawks. Chase, how goes?
It goes, man. We had I'm in Dallas now, so we had a nice snowstorm. Snow, if you want to call it a snowstorm, last week. And ready to talk about everything Warhawks this week. How are you, bub?
Good. Just cold and rainy down on the south side of Texas. And I'm ready to move further south to try to get away from the cold.
Yeah.
So the big news since our last episode, not really big news because we knew about it, but also was awesome to see on the national stage. Deshaun Ford, running back out of Opelousas. He was a 4-star at one point, fell to being a 3-star, but he picked a Warhawk hat on NBC at the Navy All-American game, committing to the University of Monroe. But
yeah, that was wild.
It was the thought that counts.
He tried. Yeah, he really did. Love that out of Lafayette's backyard, huh? Isn't that big to get? And, I'm not a huge believer in stars myself. That's maybe because I think you gave me 2 stars, which is rude. But, I think when's the last time you saw ULM get picked on a national stage like that?
It's fantastic. But as cool as it was, and that was part of the reason, because he had signed back in February, right?
Right.
But or in December rather. But they wanted to kind of hold on to him and fly him under the radar to let him kind of have that national glory of really being able to play the hat game and commit on the national stage.
Sure.
But what he said beyond saying University of Monroe, people were upset that he said, I want to be the next Ahmad Hardy. And taking that I'm only going to be there for 1 year and then I'm out of here. And while that might be the case, I can't be mad at him if that's the case, because guess what? That means we have back-to-back 1,000-yard rushers.
Yeah, back-to-back All-Americans. You guys don't want that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I originally thought, that's a weird thing to say, but then we think about it more. He had some crazy offers, and who knows what happened, why he dropped down 3-star, or what happened with his offers. But he had a crazy amount from some really big places, and then I think it's just self-awareness from the athlete to say, well, I know I can play early here, right? And I've seen what this coach can do with somebody like myself. So why not try to go do that? And I think if you're mad about it, you got to kind of realize this is the game. And this is where ULM is going to thrive. If they embrace this, we need our fan base to embrace it. We need our coaching staff, athletic departments, entire university students, everybody to embrace that. That is with the free transfer rule, that is who you should be. If you can get an All-American running back, or listen, Ahmad Hardy is such impossible shoes to live up to. But if that's your goal, I think that's such an honorable, such a great goal. Come in. You're not going to make anything in NIL, or very little if you do. Be a stud, and then have a great career. I hope you think of us fondly. I hope you come back and visit. That was my message to Ahmad was, hey, I hope you come back, man. I hope you, go kill it, and wherever you go make your money, go catch that bag, and then look back fondly on your time in Monroe.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it feels like this day and age of the NIL, the transfer, that the smaller D1 programs, the ULMs, the Southern Misses, the whoever of the world, we're junior colleges. We for all
Or what the
purposes
old
are.
junior colleges used to be. Yeah.
Correct. Where you might pair up with a big college, and we don't have a roster spot for you at Alabama, but I got ties to Brian Vincent, so I'm going to put you there for a year. He's going to put you through the same workouts you're going to have here.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get some carries. You're going to get some love. Go there, shine, do good things, and we'll see you next year.
Yeah. Take that year to develop. I think it's the first year in college is so important, right? It's why they created the red shirt. It's so important of a time of development because you get to see what an NFL style practice looks like. And that's shocking to a lot of people. You get to see what that schedule looks like, those early mornings, those workouts, all the above, right? There's the nutrition. I mean, you can keep going on and on. Your life completely changes. And why would you go sit at number 5 or 6 at Alabama when you can get 30 carries a game at ULM, get some national accolades, then have some choices, right? And you're on a bigger stage. I think the biggest difference that you're going to catch nowadays from athletes treating ULM like a JUCO, or I'll use your analogy here, treating them like a JUCO, is that they're on a much bigger stage than they would have been back in the day on a JUCO. You get what I mean? Like now they get to play on national television every weekend. They get to have the resources, quadruple the resources any JUCO would have in coaching and nutrition and all that. And I am glad that we're leading that edge, right? I'm excited. That makes me excited because you've got to see where this is going. And you've got to hope that ULM, for the first time I've ever known ULM to be on the front cutting edge of anything, is doing that.
So obviously I never played in college, but I did go to college. And that transition from high school to college was tough enough as just being the average Joe in college.
Sure.
So when you made that transition, Chase, you did have to go to the practice, the film studies, and everything else, knowing that chances are probably as a true freshman coming in, you're not going to play, but it lays that foundation. What was that transition like for you when you made that jump to the Bayou?
Yeah, I had broken my ankle my senior year, so I really didn't have a choice. I was going to redshirt. And to be honest with you, I was excited for that. Now, I chose ULM, and you wrote a fantastic article on me. And if those real fans can go back and read that, and I talked about wanting to build a house. And that was accepted then, but it's weird how it's not accepted now. But I'll say that, I went to a large high school in the DFW area. We had a few old NFL players on our coaching staff. We had the indoor, we had all the above, right? And so I was as prepared as I thought I could be going into that. And it hits you in the face like a truck. You're not used to grown men putting you on your ass, not just day after day, rep after rep. You're not used to the intense strength workouts, the multitude of different types of strength workouts. A lot of high schools do like powerlifting or they do bodybuilding style, but you got to do all the above, plus the random, the multitude of explosive movements. You've got to eat better. All of a sudden, I came in at 265. You got to play at 300 plus as an offensive lineman. So I had to gain 40 pounds. But how do you do that effectively? I did not, and it still hurts. But you have to – then after all that, by the way, you come in for a summer, you're still putting in these long days, right? Because you're not necessarily watching film, but also – and you can't get a playbook yet, but also you kind of got to figure out – how to not look like an idiot on your first practice because your first practice is a walkthrough where you're kind of expected to know some things and installments and all that. You're also then, Thibs, let's keep going. You've got to learn football. You've got to learn offenses, what different offenses do. You've got to kind of get a quick history lesson on different techniques of your position, plus, what your role in that position does in the grand scheme of the offense. Then you've got to understand the offense. Then you've got to understand defense. And then, by the way, bud, week in and week out, you got to know different defenses. You got to know bear defenses, to 3-3s, there's so much that you think and you have no clue. And then you got to go to class. And then as a freshman, you got to go study hall. I hope Bryant Vincent still does that. But it's just, you go from this, most of your time in senior year of high school, mine was really relaxed and I was able to kind of, enjoy my time. And then you realize that you're putting food on another man's plate if you play well, or you're taking it away. And I'm referring to a coach there. And that coach is going to make sure that you are adding to his plate, not taking it away. So it's a tough thing. And it's such an underrated part. And I know it's a blessing and I know it's free school and all that, but that first year is so hard. It's why you see so many kids transfer. It's why you see so many people, get frustrated. There's more to it than just going and playing ball.
So you're saying the scene from the infamous movie, The Program, where they hype up, they have this great recruiting visit for the running back, that when he shows up, when he shows up for the visit, the band's there, the cheerleaders are lining the streets, everything's good. Then when he shows up, he gets off the bus and it's like a lineman and the quarterback. And he's like, what happened to the honeys and the band? They're like, you're a rat shit freshman now. We got you.
Yeah. It was, I remember, I love this story, that I had gone, I'm a big guy, right? So I wear through socks very quickly. Okay. I'll say that, especially doing, and I walk up to the equipment manager at the time. I said, hey, I ran through these socks. I need some more. And he was like, why would I give you socks? And I think I cried about it that night. I then called my mother and cried and asked her to send me some socks or give me some money for socks, because you play this game of recruiting, of pumping all people up. And then you were an 18-year-old kid, right, who has not really fully physically developed. You're an idiot in the game of football. You really are. I've never seen maybe one player that's ever been a smart football player when he got into college. And you're going against grown men who have been there for 4 years. They've played college football. They've been in different, schemes. And it's exactly everything you think it is. When people say that, I don't think they realize how much it's just an ass whooping getting in there. And there's, why not lessen that ass whooping? To bring us full circle a little bit, why not lessen that ass whooping and actually play?
Yeah.
You get what I mean? And be salty about somebody leaving all you want, but that's not the future.
So obviously a lot of this talk about Ahmad Hardy, the Warhawks did land, in addition to Ford. I don't want to cut him short, because I think that that's a huge get for the future, and a huge part of the offense that will be on the field in 25. But they got a great transfer running back in this day and age of the portal. The Warhawks really kind of kept Hardy when it comes to this. They got Zach Palmer-Smith out of Richmond. Are you ready for how much we're really keeping Ahmad Hardy when you listen to this? Palmer-Smith, 263 carries. Ahmad Hardy last year, 237 carries. Okay. Palmer-Smith, 1,382 yards. Hardy, 1,351. Both had 13 touchdowns. Yes, Palmer-Smith will come in as a junior, as a senior, so he'll have the 1 year of eligibility. He's got a little bit more wear and tear on him.
Sure.
But we pretty much have Ahmad Hardy coming back.
Yeah. Love that. Plus, you got some depth. I mean, it was a frustrating part about, you had to know Ahmad was going to transfer. And if you're a ULM fan, I hope that you prepared for it, because it was going to happen. There's no way you're going to keep him. But James Jones didn't make sense to me. And I thought James would have gone, and I thought he was a good explosive player. I thought he was going to walk into the same, type of role. Maybe not, I don't see him as a 30 carry back, but, 20, probably 18 in that range. And then somebody else taking 10. And then he transfers. And that's the one that you scratch your head at. But if you can replace both of those guys next year, again, I hate to keep saying this, but that's what you got to do now. That's this world. The power is in those athletes' hands. And by the way, that's a good thing. And not great for the fans, but it's great for the athlete. And if you can replace that year in and year out and continually do that, it's why Bryant Vincent, why people don't want Bryant to leave, right? But guess what? If you're a Warhawk fan and he does what he does again, start preparing yourself.
That's why
But
there's
maybe
a high
that's too
buyout
early of a
this time.
conversation. That's right. Maybe I shouldn't scare people. Maybe that's too early of a conversation.
I hope he never leaves, but
Never
that's
leaves.
that's his own choice, and not because, good God, we're stuck with him another year.
right.
All this talk about running backs, though, the good news is at least per Football Scoop, Henley Brigham, the former running back assistant coach at UAB, will be having a reunion with the UAB staff that is now on the Bayou at ULM.
Mm-hmm.
He's done some big things. He had Spencer Brown, who is in the NFL and is the all-time leading rusher for UAB at over 4,000 yards in his career, back when guys would actually stick around for more than a year. But I really like it. Oh, never. But even with these new coaches coming in, or this new coach coming in, it still doesn't answer the question of Bryant Vincent saying, I want an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I can't really handle head coaching, fundraising, offensive coordinator duties, and everything else. Who's the offensive coordinator? I could see this guy maybe being a run game coordinator.
Sure, and splitting it up that way, like run game, pass game. Well, it makes the, I totally understand. It makes you question the fobs thing, right? But I totally understand, because his statement was that I did this so I can hire an OC, and OC is going to bring somebody with him. But then you abandon that plan and you hire a running backs coach with no OC, unless you're planning on this guy being OC, which, to be fair, could be possible, right? Am I wrong? Like, he could come in and be OC, but I like the hire. I'll say that, period. I like that he's on the coaching staff. I like that he's going, people he knows and trusts, and this guy seems to have a good pedigree, and he was a good running back himself, and all that stuff. But Bryant Vincent, and there's one reason why I say this. Bryant Vincent he may not have to give up play calling. That's not what I'm saying. He has to give up the coordinator role. And for those that don't know, the coordinator role is much more than just play calling, if that's what an OC does. You put together the entire game plan. You have different plays you're going to run on different downs, on different yard markages, on different yard markers, whatever. You have different, there's much more that goes into being an OC. And you can split that up. You saw Todd Berry do this a little bit early on in Steve Farmer, and who else? Was it Travis Niekamp that did it, that did run game and pass game? And then you can do that. And that's a great way to approach it. And that's spreading the wealth, and usually put some really great, play call schemes together. But he's got to give it up, because your operation times were so bad last year. And I'm sure he would admit this himself, okay? You took way too many first quarter and third quarter timeouts because of your operation times. Those types of things are helped. They're not solved, but they're helped with coordinators. And I think he had enough self-awareness to realize that was what happened. But it's got to be something he looks forward to. And now I have no clue what he's going to do as OC. I said Steve, but that's me, because he was my O-line coach at ULM. But I have no clue what route he takes. I hope he kind of tells us soon.
Yeah, and there was something else out on the X. I have not been able to confirm it inside, that Keyshawn McClain, who was a passing game coordinator at East Tennessee State, is the new receivers coach. But that still just adds more questions to who the hell is going to be pulling the strings of the offense this upcoming year.
I say that, Thibs, but, maybe it's that when he had the whole debacle about leaving, right? Maybe that was a stipulation of him staying, that I get enough staff raises where I can hire an OC as well. You put another 100, 150 on top of this, so I can hire a decent OC and still replace the guys that I let go. maybe that's it, dude. Maybe we're just stupid, and he's, he really is the genius that some people think he is.
I like him. I'm working on getting him on a future episode
Of our podcast?
Yes.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Why?
He's scary, bro. He is so scary. If you've met the guy, I'm always terrified at halftime, full-time to interview him because he's
he's in the trenches.
Yeah, dude, he's in there, bro. And he is a passionate person. I think it'd be great for the podcast. I'm sorry I shouldn't say that publicly. And I'd love to have him. I think, to get a more comfortable view of him, you're going to realize he is who he is 100% of the time. I've seen him behind the curtain. I've seen him in front of the curtain. And he is the same person both ways.
I was just glad to learn that everyone wants to make fun of him, that he's kind of a smaller guy. He will not be the smallest coach in the Sun Belt this upcoming year.
Scott Stoker still coaches in the Sun Belt.
Well, head coach.
Okay.
Head coach.
Who's shorter?
I forget the guy's name. The new head coach at Appalachian State is at 5'5".
Whoa, coaching football. You look like a football. What are you going to do at 5'5"? Jesus Christ. Thibs, 5'5".
Leading the Mountaineers.
Waddling around, screaming at people? That's awful, dude. What the hell?
What else you want to toss around there on the football side there, Chase?
No, I keep seeing a few guys here and there. It seems like they're replacing some DBs. They're going to need some help there. You're trying to replace a lot of production. And I had some people texting me this week saying, we're going to be better than last year. And I'm always cynical and also at the same time hopeful, but understand this. And here's what I'll leave you with, Thibs. You've got to increase your quarterback production. That's the number one. We're all flailing about Ahmad Hardy, but I promise you, you have better play. And I'm not saying that Aiden can't be this guy, but he has to play better at quarterback. The guy catching snap has to be better. You lose an offensive lineman, Carter Miller, who, by the way, is doing some weird stuff on his own, right? You lose your left tackle. You're losing 3 or 4 guys in the offensive line. But don't worry, Big Fish is always going to be there. You're losing great production at linebacker and corner and safety. And so I just wanted to say that I am excited to go to spring game and maybe catch a few practices if I can, because I want to see what those players look like. And I got full faith in the coaching staff, but wild west now of college football.
It's funny you mentioned quarterback play, and Armenta's the guy. I mean, that was Vincent's guy at New Mexico. Yeah. That's who he wanted to run his offense. It was a lift and shift to get him to the Bayou, and he's not bad. I think that people were a little frustrated last year that he wasn't further along, forgetting that he's a redshirt freshman, so 19, 20 years old, leading a D1 program for the first time.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be a lot better this year. My concern is who is going to be number 2, because you have Isaiah Velez, who was a great scout team guy, and people really thought he was one of the better quarterbacks in this program with no recognition.
Yeah.
Obviously, Booty's gone. You have the local kid there, Brooks Alzalone. I know I'm horrible with names, just like
Anzalone.
Yeah. Landon Graves, another local kid there as well.
Yeah.
And they were good high school quarterbacks, but that doesn't always translate to being a good college quarterback.
Mm-mm.
So now you're looking at Reese Mooney. Oh, wait. He's no longer with the program, wanting to focus on baseball, and transferred to junior college to pursue baseball.
Good luck.
So you're now left with the only quarterbacks being Hunter Herring, Aiden Armenta, and Bryson Kimbrough coming in as a true freshman.
Yeah, I've heard great things about Bryson, but I think you're still going to have the same 1 and 2, okay? You're still going to have Aiden, who I believe – I'm with you. I think that's the guy. I think he has to make When he had to make quick decisions in 2-minute drills, he was excellent. When he had time, he seemed to make poor choices early in games, and that last stretch of games, it really put himself and his team in a bad spot. So I'm challenging him, but I'm also saying I believe in him. I think he can. I think with another year of preparation, with a great spring practice in Monroe, used to everything, another year in the system, I think he will be good. I think Hunter's always going to be that number 2 option and a good number 2 option. I know Hunter struggled with in the Bowden days. Passing the ball, he's an excellent runner. We all know that. They're going to continue to use him in that package. Hunter's not going anywhere, I hope. And, I think they get him more involved in the offense. I don't want to see that guy block anybody ever, but I'd love to see him run out of the H-back, kind of like off the line Y, Z. It's not a Z. Whatever. I'm looking like an idiot. But get him involved in the offense, slot receiver, running the ball back there, do a dual quarterback system sometimes. I think they'll get that kind of stuff in there. And I don't think you're upset about Aiden being the starter. You just need – I'm going to come from a different angle. That's the same thing you're coming back. You need depth in the sense that you need competition. You need people to go in there and push Aiden. He can't walk into this season thinking it's all good. I'm the starter. I'm going to be fine. He has to go in there thinking, I suck, and how am I going to prove everybody wrong?
Well, and not to mention, things happen during the season. I mean, something as simple as your helmet falling off, you're out of play.
Right.
And if you have Joe Schmo coming in as your quarterback and he can't throw, he can't run, he's going to hand it off, what are you going to do? You're going to put 11, if not 15 in the box and just come after it.
No, I think Hunter's better than that. I think Hunter covers that.
No, he is. And I'll say this. I don't like Hunter Herring as a quarterback alone.
Yeah, as a 60-play quarterback, no, not his strength.
I love him as the Taysom Hill, where you don't know what the hell's about to come at you.
Right.
That is what
he's effective enough passer to hit a bomb, really. I mean, like, he's got a big arm on him. He's not – I 100% agree with you. I think we saw him make – this was poor play calling, and I loved Cubic, but Cubic didn't – I don't think Cubic likes that type of quarterback. And he was put in an impossible situation on a very bad football team and asked to go be their saving grace, and he tried to do that, and that was the problem. He tried to go be their saving grace. Where he's at now is in the perfect situation. He gets to be an athlete. He gets to be a quarterback sometimes. A lot of the times he gets to run the ball for 20 yards because nobody knows where the hell he's going. But he can't – he's not your answer, you're right, for a 60-play quarterback. I don't think so. But are you a trash team if he is? No, I don't think that either.
No, I also and I think it speaks for itself. I worry about his durability.
Absolutely.
Again, if he has to take more than maybe 15 snaps at quarterback, what does that look like in game 2, in game 3, and so on?
Well, he's had the injury bug, and I hate that for him, man, because it's he's a great talent. And I'm glad he's there.
For sure. On to basketball.
Yay, basketball.
Where the Warhawks suffered another defeat to Troy. And Chase, it was the same thing, different day. It was a great first half outing.
Yeah.
And then it just depth is not there. And the second half, Troy just turns it on and goes.
And, dude, we're having this conversation the first half of the season. We're having this conversation, 2, 4, 7 games into conference play. I mean, this is so cynical of me, but it doesn't feel like it's going to get better. And I know that they're keeping it close in the first half, but you're going to have to take a decent lead and then pace people out in the second half. I mean, you're not – I was talking earlier about the offensive production and all that, but I've changed my tune. I think you've hit it on the nail on the head. It's just depth. I think they have fine offensive production. I think they play fine defense. I think they do all the things they can do, but you can't do it with 7 people. I just caused us an explicit warning, but you can't do it with 7 people.
I put it on there all the time anyway.
Oh, thank you.
But no, and the fans are pissed, and they want Richard gone. But here's the deal: it's not Richard.
No.
And even if you say, okay, yeah, he's out the window, what's it really bite that probably Phil Cunningham is going to get a little bit of an audition for maybe being considered for the head coaching job?
Take yourself out of the year, okay? It's not. What does I'm asking the same question that you're asking me? It doesn't solve anything. What does it solve if you fire him? Why don't we take it? Because in 10 years, you're going to look back on Keith Richard and be like, wow, he was a great coach. Really excited he was here. Now, you and I will say, we'll think about, his last year, they won like 5 games. But let him have this historic career. He's coached here forever. Let him go out. I know it's not – I promise you the guy doesn't want to lose, okay? If you met the guy, if you talked to the guy, Martin lied to us last week. I know Martin's heard that guy drop F-bombs left and right, dude. That guy is a very passionate coach, all right? You gain nothing from firing him. He did not prepare this team well or whatever happened. He's going to take the blame because he's the head coach. But he doesn't have the depth, and whose ever fault that is, it doesn't matter at this point. It's what it is, and it can't change. So just let him ride out in the, I can't say blaze of glory. I'll say, help me out here, and let him ride it out in the bucking bronco it is, because it isn't pretty. And, be grateful for the time and Nick Coppola taking him to the CBIs.
God, that was such a fun time.
Yeah, it was.
I love
That's
Nick.
a flashback.
Nick was such a great player, great kid off the floor. Yeah,
smart.
He's him and Justin Robertson are definitely two that are near and dear to me for sure.
Absolutely, great. God, they were good, weren't they?
They were. Man, things are not really getting much better on the women's side either, though. I mean, they're still kind of struggling, limping along. That's one that I cannot figure out what the issue is, because they play in spurts, but that's basketball. That's going to happen regardless.
Sure.
But I can't tell you what is the real cause for them to kind of be falling from grace this year.
I mean, at least it's hard to talk about the women after men because comparatively, at least they have a W in the last 2 W's the last 4 games, right? And I don't think that they're in a panic situation. I think, I hate to sound like a broken record. I think you're just having to replace, and I think this team at least feels like it's developing or could develop into a decent team, a competitive team. I think they had too high of expectations, and you had to replace, was she the Sun Belt Player of the Year or supposed to be? Or, I mean, she had some accolades. You had to replace a lot of accolades. So, I mean, I think, and this is gonna sound shitty to say, you gotta believe, I mean, like, at least Bilderback's got something going, right? Like, you feel confident in her as a coach of the success she's had previously has proven that it can turn around. When you look at the men, you're like, they're a sinking turd.
Womp womp.
Yeah, that sounded sad. I felt sad as I kept talking, honestly. I don't know, dude. They'll figure it out. I believe in that. I think they'll figure it out. They really still got some studs, and just needs to get time. Just time. Time can heal a lot in that sport, and it's so sporadic. You never know. They could win the next 6 games.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about how you are playing from the midpoint of February on. I say that, but every conference game is important, especially when you look at that bracket. And if you're not in that upper end, it's a marathon. You would literally be in Pensacola for over a week if you play from the horrible seeds all the way to the championship game is over a week of hanging out on the beach.
Sounds terrible. I hate it.
I'm not a beach guy, so it would be.
There's nothing better than seeing this body grace a beach. I promise you.
I'm gonna.
It's
go
a
throw up
dream.
now.
It's a dream of many women across this world, but it only matters to one. Love you, babe.
Yeah, I'm speechless after that, Chase.
Yeah, twist the seal and sex appeal, baby. Don't worry about it.
And on that note, what do you have to close us out there, Chase?
What do I have to close us out? What a shitty question. I'll say this, okay? I'll go a little different with it. I've loved the guests so far. I've really enjoyed this podcast, Thibs. I want to say you're a great host, and I'm a very average participant. But I'm excited for this year, and I'm grateful we're doing it.
Awesome.
And you thought I was going to go a different route. You thought I was going to talk some shit about ULM or, say, no, we're not so good. I love ULM. Man, I hope they do great. And they're going to do great. And Fed's got to pick his shit up. There you go.
Yeah. I'm glad you said yes. I'm glad we got the show off the ground and going. Episode 6. So we're getting some traction there. I love it. As always, check out all of the Funbelt podcast shows. We have obviously Funbelt podcast. We have Netland, focused just on Sunbelt Conference basketball. Hellraiser, focusing all on the Arkansas State Red Wolves, who hopefully 25 is the year where we snap that streak. Yeah. And then, of course, this one of Bleav in the Warhawks with Chase, talking everything ULM. So, on that note, Chase, it was so much fun. We should do it again next week.
I will see you next week, bud.